Welcome to Table Talks. I'm your host, Janell, and today we are taking a dive into a fascinating topic and research around Scalar light and energy. Its healing, its rejuvenating properties. It is the work of Tom Paladino, who has, since he was 10 years old, been fascinated with this concept. He had studied many scientists from the past. He's going to share with us what this is and how he's using it to support our well-being. It's fascinating. You're going to enjoy it. And it really speaks to, get ready to be out of the box, but it speaks to a lot of, to me, is, we're giving these passions and these drives for a reason. We're bringing our gifts to the world, and our earth and our world is elevating, and it's elevating quickly. And our awareness of intuitive gifts and energy and the way to use energy and our thought and our emotion, those are energies, and they are not bound by our skin, if you will, or the walls that we live in. So it's in that zone of quantum physics, quantum healing. So enjoy this conversation, open up your mind, and just see what you think. Here we go. Hi, we're sitting down here with Tom Paladino. Welcome, Tom, here at Table Talks. Fascinated with your work with Scalar. Now, am I saying Scalar energy correctly?
That's correct. Scalar energy. Yep.
Okay. Brand spanking new idea to me. And possibly for all of those that are joining us here today in this conversation, it may be new to you too. So way excited. I'm an intuitive and an energy healer. So anything that we can tap into and learn about frequency and things that support our well-being, sign me up. So here we go. We want to jump in here. Tom, let's know a little bit. You're a researcher. We can tell that we're joining you in your lab. And so let's talk about you a little bit and what got you to study scalar energy.
I was enthralled with the work of Nikola Tesla, the great scientist Nikola Tesla. And that was really the proving moment in my life. I said to myself, this great scientist developed so many instruments. Many of those instruments were scalar energy instruments. I want to follow up as to what Tesla did. I am now living that dream, and it's a glorious dream. It's incredible what quantum energy can do.
Okay. So was this something from childhood when you were
when I was 10, 11 years of age, yes. It's been a lifelong passion. I've been driven to do this, and for good reason, because the benefits are worldwide. The benefits will be incredible.
So you're 10 years old. You're reading a book about Nikola Tesla and his research. Was it something just like that?
That's correct. And I could understand that later in his life, Tesla was working with energy without the support of an infrastructure. What am I saying? He wasn't tapping into a power plant. The stars are the power plant that he tapped into. Okay.
So you're fasting. That's just amazing that you were 10 years old and your mind just went click. I got to know more about this. So that's incredible.
It's a gift from God.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So scalar energy, what is scalar energy?
I believe it's divine energy. I believe it's from God. Scalar energy is from God. Now, with that said, I believe that's the energy that animates the stars. Many people have often said, what gives stars the energy, the power? We have billions of galaxies. What provides the power? I believe it's divine energy. I believe it's God's energy. The instrument behind me, hence, is a miniature star. This is a scalar energy instrument in which, if a star can light up the universe, this star can light up a light bulb.
Okay. So Is that in kin? Let's break down scalar energy because it's coming from the stars slash our sun. You're calling it divine, identifying it as divine energy.
That's correct.
Why study this? What's the benefit? What's going on with scalar energy?
Well, compare scalar energy to electricity. Electricity you have to produce. The stars you don't have to produce. You simply have to tap into the star energy. So it's free energy. You don't need to drill for oil. You don't need a wind farm. You do not need to build a nuclear reactor. Why not just capture the energy of the stars? So what's the point? The stars are the existing power plant.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get away from this notion that you have to create power. No, the power already exists. It's the stars. All you have to do is tap into the power.
Okay. And this is, you talk about in some of your research, you talk about frequencies. The frequency from the scalar energy comes in, for example, you mentioned photosynthesis. It comes into the plant. It carries a code. Am I understanding this conversation? Talk to us
Yes.
about that.
My predecessor, a man by the name of Galen Hieronymus, was able to grow plants in the dark with scalar energy instruments. Why? Because the light from the sun and the stars is the driving force, the animating force behind photosynthesis. So the code, the intelligence, the energy from the sun and the stars is responsible for all photosynthesis. It's responsible for all life. I want to make this very clear. This is a first cause. I'm working with the primal source of energy, the primal source of light. There's nothing before this except God. So if my contention is accurate, then I've tapped into the life force of everything, whether it's photosynthesis, DNA, whether it's a rock, anything owes its existence to this code, this intelligence.
So when we say in the beginning, God created light, that's his for life force energy coming into this sphere.
That's correct. Yes, exactly. Everything needs instructions. The fact that we exist, if you look at the periodic table, if there's structure, there's order to that. Everything needs intelligence, instructions. Scalar energy is the instructions. Scalar energy assembles hydrogen. Scalar energy assembles my DNA and maintains my DNA. This is the animating force of everything.
So it holds the code.
Yes.
And that's the instructions, the frequencies embedded in light. Now, if we take white light, so if we take light from the sun and we put it through, I have a prism hanging in my window just because it's fun. And at a certain time of day, I have all these cool little rainbows dancing around my walls. Yes. So in that light, there is the color spectrum, and each color spectrum has its own frequency. And in those frequencies, those harmonize with the chakra system that exists in our body. No accident there, right?
Exactly. 7 chakras, 7 primary lights. Yes. Colors. Yes. So all of this goes hand in hand. So what is the animating force of our 7 chakras? The sevenfold light, the light of scalar energy. Scalar energy spins, it's a vortex. Our chakras spin, they're vortexes. So the vortices that we have are spinning vortices of scalar energy. There's no mistake. What is the intelligence of a vortex? It spins. Why? It spins because scalar energy tells it to spin.
Okay, interesting. So it's actually, okay. All right. And same with our field, our energetic field spins.
Yes.
So for the same reason, it must be. So you're the code. There's some other properties about scalar energy. So it's got the code. It gives commands in a sense, or triggers responses in life. It supports life, but it also, why is it, you're mentioning in your research and your studies that it also is addressing pathogens. What's going on there?
Okay, to be clear, when I'm working with people, I never work with people. I work with their bilocated version. I'm holding up my photograph. My photograph is my energy field, my code, my quantum field. So I don't work with biological life. I work with quantum life on a photograph. People can be in two places at once. I actually place the photograph of my photograph, or anybody's photograph for that matter, in the instrument. So it's their bilocated version, their quantum version that I'm working with. Now, let's say I wanted to eradicate the Epstein-Barr virus. Now, follow my thinking. By taking these two photographs, one of the Epstein-Barr and one of my photographs, I am matching up, I'm communicating the intelligence of Epstein-Barr to my photograph. There's a communication of energy. And in so doing, if I had Epstein-Barr, this photograph of Epstein-Barr, the virus, would communicate with my photograph, find the virus in my quantum field, and negate it, remove it, bring it to a state of chaos, all through quantum intelligence, all through quantum instructions. So it's not a chemical process, it's a new branch of physics in which two photographs can communicate with one another.
Okay. So working on the principle that energy has no limits to skin and walls and so on. Okay. Yes. So how does that do that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, here's the point. In the electromagnetic world, the world that we recognize, you can only be in one place at one time. But many people say that the universe is holographic. It is, meaning you can be in two places simultaneously. So instead of working with people, I work with a photograph, which is their standard, their bilocated version. And when I'm doing so, I'm not working chemically, I'm working energetically in the quantum field. So yes, there is quantum mechanics. Yes, there is quantum science. I can prove it. And furthermore, when I place my photograph inside this instrument, it's a chakra balance. So what do I mean? I'm holding in my hand a light bulb. If I download this energy into my quantum field, that's a chakra balancing. Look at all the white light going into my quantum field through this instrument. If the instrument can illuminate a light bulb, then it can illuminate my chakras and my brain waves.
When you say quantum field, break down what are you talking about when you say quantum field?
Yeah, that's a good point. So there's two energies, there's two dimensions. We recognize the electromagnetic dimension. When you go to school, sadly, they only teach you about electromagnetic physics. There's two physics. There's electromagnetic physics and quantum physics, or scalar energy physics. So there's two dimensions, there's two realities. In the other reality, in a quantum reality, a scalar energy reality, I can be in two places at once simultaneously through my photograph. So this is so cutting edge. Not only are these groundbreaking, unique instruments, my theories, my work is groundbreaking because I have access the other dimension through a photograph.
Because the signature of you is in that, therefore it is representative of you. Yes. So theory then, if you can be in two places at once through a photograph, that means you can be in more than two places.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Now, in the quantum field, in the holographic field, actually you're in an infinite number of places simultaneously. Why? The whole is the part is the whole. Many people theorize that the universe is holographic. And once you understand quantum physics, then you start to realize you're not predicated upon one point, one location, or one moment in time. You transcend time and space. So time and space are irrelevant.
Yeah.
Okay. There is no time constraint. There's only one time, the present moment. So all of the past is present. All of the future is present. I know that's a subtle concept, but this is the way quantum physics, quantum mechanics works. You transcend, you overcome time and space.
And Wayne Dyer talks about the three fields that we have. We have one that's connected very much to our physical body. and that auric or electromagnetic field. Then you have a second one, and it goes and it is really radiating into that workplace, your home, those things that are here around you. And then you have the third one that is infinite. That
Yes.
must be the space in which you're talking about. That must reach
Yes.
into the space that has no bounds.
Yes.
As we
Yes.
understand, time is a
Yes.
boundary, right? Time is a boundary
Mhm.
that we physically
Yes.
walk through.
Yes. And you just explained thought or prayer. Now consider, everything has to have its working model, its paradigm. Thinking and praying transcend time and space, correct?
Correct.
You can think and it traverses the universe in a flash. So you have to have a paradigm that will carry that thought in a flash, so to speak. Prayer transcends generations. Prayer transcends time and space. You can pray for an event on the other side of the universe, so to speak. So what's the point? Prayer, intention, thought is all of that non-physical energy, scalar energy. Every time you think or you pray, it's an emanation of scalar energy. It has to be, because the electromagnetic field cannot propagate instantaneously and transcend time and space. Electricity does not transcend time and space. A scalar wave, you're thinking, transcends time and space. So when we go into that realm of infinite possibilities, it's infinite because you're not bound by time and space.
So scalar energy is in the sun. Einstein work was around light, speed of light, study of light, but light itself, isn't it bound by time?
It is in the electromagnetic spectrum. Light, electricity, light in the electromagnetic spectrum, the top speed or limit is 186,000 miles per second, which is very fast. But consider scalar energy, it's timeless. It already exists. So there is no point A and point B. With electricity, I'll just use that term, you travel from point A to point B. With scalar energy, you're already there. It's the omnipresence of the universe.
And it still comes from the sun. This
That's correct.
omnipresence comes from the energy of the sun. So is it a parallel energy frequency to light?
That's a good point. Both coexist simultaneously. Now, the initial energy from the sun and the stars is scalar energy. That's why the sun and the stars are eternal. They never burn out. After that energy leaves the center of the sun, the stars, it degrades into electricity and magnetism. I'll explain this. Scalar energy is a double helix. So if my two hands represent a rotating double helix, that's perfect energy. And scalar energy then will break down in many environments into electricity and magnetism. So one hand becomes electricity, the other hand becomes magnetism. So electromagnetic, scalar. Electromagnetic, scalar. So they convert one into the other.
Okay. But they say stars burn out.
They never lose their power. They go through a cycle. That's very good.
Okay.
But even a black hole is tremendous energy and it never burns out. It's always experiencing this infinite energy. So even a star, even a black hole, even collapsing star, it's a tremendous amount of energy. Yes, it's a cycle, but it never loses its eternal energy. It always remains eternal.
Okay. And that's the point. So here we go.
Yeah.
Are we blowing everybody's minds yet? This is amazing. And I've got more questions right now just flooding into my mind. Okay, so Tom, the study of this eternal energy, and when we're talking about now supporting humanity through your device, what's your vision?
Well, I can easily work with one person by their force field. I can work with 25 people by a group photograph. Earlier today in the lab, I worked with 500,000 photographs.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are no longer bound by space and time. This instrument behind me could work with 1 billion photographs a year.
Nice.
I want to work with 1 billion people a year by way of their photograph. Again, it's not a physical treatment. I'm not in the medical field. It's a new science of quantum entanglement, or whereby we can connect with a person's energy field through a photograph.
And what's the benefit? Like, I'm going to just do this.
Yep.
So what,
Sure.
right? So what's
Yep.
the benefit?
That's great. So when I match up, again, for instance, there's a number of ways I've utilized this energy. When I match up my photograph to a microbe, say Epstein-Barr or Staphylococcus, epidermidis, okay, a bacterium, I can eradicate, I can bring to state of chaos these microbes. And I don't do it through chemicals, I do it through the energy field on my photograph.
Okay.
So number one, I can eradicate microbes. Okay, ready. Number two, I can take this energy and I could assemble a nutrient or a neurotransmitter. That's dopamine. I'm going to place my photograph side by side dopamine. If I wanted dopamine, the instrument would download the energy, not the chemical, the energy of dopamine into me. So we can work with nutrients, hormones, neurotransmitters by way of this intelligence. And then the third modality that I've demonstrated, I can take my photograph and download my chakras, download energy into my chakras and correct and repair the chakras. Now, pursuant to my research, chakras are non-physical. This energy is non-physical. Again, we're not working with chemicals. We're not working in the physical realm. Mm-hmm. In scalar energy, it's a different physics, which everything is spirit-like. Scalar energy, there's not one proton in scalar energy. It's not physical. It's non-physical. So what am I getting at? We're looking at the spirit of the universe, what some people might call the Holy Spirit, the presence of God, the Ark of the Covenant, consciousness. This is a new realm of science.
When you take, okay, so we're talking about non-physical, spiritual energy, but you're using a physical device to recreate that.
To recreate it. Now, we have a physical device, so to speak, our brain, our mind. Our mind is a great indication of a scalar vessel, a scalar instrument. The human mind projects thought, which is a scalar wave. This instrument projects thought or intelligence, which is a scalar wave. So we have to have some way to capture the energy from the sun and the stars. Again, if the sun and the stars are the originator, my mind and this instrument are the receivers of scalar energy. Mm-hmm. So if you will, that broadcaster is the sun and the stars. This instrument, my mind, my heart, receives the energy. It's the energy of love. It's consciousness.
Okay. So if it's receiving it, but you said we also then send it.
Yes, we can. And God has given us that ability. When we think or pray or have an intention or even healing hands, all of those are indications of scalar energy. You can heal by thought, by prayer. You can heal by laying hands on people. So what am I getting at? Healing hands are scalar energy hands. It's not your hand that heals. It's the non-physical energy that's imparted, the instructions from your hand.
And so is there a way to measure that?
No, very good, because it's infinite. Okay, you can measure a mile, you can measure a liter or a gallon, you cannot measure consciousness.
Yet you can observe change.
Yes.
So we can be the observer of consciousness, but we can't have change of this energy. We can't be a measure of.
That's correct.
So, when you think about going into the time of no space, when you go into the space where past, present, and future are now, then by theory, if we're healing in scalar time or with scalar energy, that means we can, we can shift and support a person on their entire timeline if it's all now. True?
Yes. And this is why prayer, thought, transcends time and space. This is how powerful intention is. Prayer, meditation. I mean, why would God give us the ability to think across generations? Well, we're all given that angelic-like or God-like ability.
Yeah. healing. He speaks to that, that you heal the generations. You can heal. We can experience the sin, if you will. We can experience the trauma and experiences of our past generations in this lifetime. But that also means he speaks to healing the generations in this lifetime. So that must be that transcending frequency of all space and time. Okay, this is powerful stuff. We're talking about, we're really asking our brains to step out of the three-dimensional.
Correct.
And enter into this new space and type of thinking. And I feel like, and I'm thinking you are right on time for the shift. I've always felt like, and I've worked with several healers where we're just fusing the planet with love. I feel like that's one of my missions, God missions, that it's time to, the elevation of our understanding is in play right now. Do you feel that too?
Yes, I do. And you're right. There's two dimensions. What some people call 3D, the road we see before us, sure, it's real. But there's a spirit dimension, 5D or another
and
dimension.
Beyond.
Yes, thank you. That is non-physical. That's invisible. It's the spirit dimension. This is spirit energy. Remember, there's not one electron or proton involved in my work. It's intelligence, consciousness. Well, you can't measure consciousness, as we discussed. And I've never seen consciousness. I don't think it can be sensed with taste or with the human mind. It can only be fathomed.
So I just wanted to insert a conversation that Tom and I had after the interview was over, because I'm asking, Tom, you said that this energy cannot be seen or felt. And I'm like, but an intuitive can see and can feel it, don't you think? And he's like, yes. In the three-dimensional world, we don't see it, we don't feel it, but to the intuitive, we can. So I thought that conversation we had was really interesting. So I'm inserting it in right now, and then we'll wrap up the interview. Enjoy. So, talking about intuitive gifts and who's got them, who doesn't have them. And people are coming to me going, I know I have a something, but I don't know what. There's something else, but I don't know what. And they're a lot like me when they were young, before limiting beliefs come on, before experiences come on. We don't talk about this because we don't know it. So we're growing up not being in a no guilt, no shame. It just is in a family unit that doesn't talk about intuitive gifts. But so I shut it down. They scared me to death. They confused me. They frustrated me. They were, through the lens of a child, they were at the root of all my struggles. And I said, shut this down, just shut it down. So I did. But then what happens? That's a huge part of who we are. That's our connectedness to God. And at a totally different depth, those gifts are. Excuse me. And so when we shut that down, we are separating ourselves from our source and our internal compass. So here I went through life. I was successful in so many ways, yet always knew it wasn't me entirely. And you get this imposter syndrome until, fast forward, I'm training horses, love horses forever for this, but I'm a professional horse trainer. And they started, because they came to me, I attracted outlaws, Tom. They were wanting to kick people, buck people off, run away with people. Several trainers had worked with them. They land in my facility. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're just in pain. So I'm like, I know you're striking out and your behavior is unacceptable, but the why is you're in pain. So the journey of me and these horses together, because I mentored with 3 gals that were a vet, gone Eastern medicine, and a body worker and a horse chiropractor. And we got these horses out of pain. But the horses' gift back to me was they touched me in my heart space. And they activated something that shut down. And so many people like us have shut their gifts down. And maybe not you, because you started at 10 just grabbing it and running with your mission in life. So you're a different story possibly, but mine and people like me, that was our story. And that's who's coming to me now, is they're saying, hey, I want to reconnect with that God part of me. I want to reconnect with that intuitive gift. And that's what's opening us up. Now that I'm talking to you, to the scalar, possibly, correct me if I'm wrong, the scalar light or the life force energy. Is that correct, do you think?
That's correct. What you're describing, you have gifts. Some people have the gift of clairvoyance, which is scalar energy. Some people have the gift of seeing colors, which is scalar energy. Some people have the gift of prophecy, which is scalar energy. Some people have healing hands, which is scalar energy, healing hands. It's the unseen universe for most people, but it's very real. And if you can really tap into it and be of that level of consciousness, you'll see it, you'll feel it. I feel this energy every day that I'm in my laboratory because I'm open to it. Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen every once in a while with my naked eye some manifestations of scalar energy, but I have to be open to it. You have to be able to differentiate.
Shift over there, don't you? It's like a shift.
Yes. You've got to differentiate. Yes.
I'm wondering, Tom, if I can see your machine work. I'm going to wonder, because I can see every gift you just said I have. I can do everything you just said. So I'm wondering, we could play. Do you wanna? We could experiment with that. And sure. I would love to see if I can see it, see it. I feel it and then I see it. But
when you start our sessions, you're going to have a chakra balancing. In the first few days, let's see if you feel it. I'll let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. Most people say that they're calmer. They can sleep a very deep, meaningful sleep without interruption because you're balancing the brain waves and the chakras. Many people say that they're more intuitive as a result of the chakra balancing. Why? I'm sure we're balancing the pineal gland to some extent. Yeah. I don't know how, but I'm sure we are.
Well, I'm sure you are because, well, it makes sense. I'm not sure, but it makes sense that you could be because we're energy. Our physical body is energy. Everything is a frequency, right? Our atom, everything that we're built of is a frequency in our physical body. And so you're bringing in a frequency that's tuning the physical.
Yes, exactly. This is alignment. This is the singularity. It's from God. It's only one energy. You cannot make a mistake when there's only one decision to make. It's perfect dimension. It's perfect energy.
So you've studied and gone along the work of Nikola Tesla. Let's throw some other names out there that have done this work.
I was fortunate enough to meet a family called Hieronymus. They're here in the United States. They're all deceased now, sadly. Back in 93 and 94, I started working with the Hieronymus family, and they developed this initial instrument. Galen Hieronymus was the inventor. And I was actually able to buy a scalar energy instrument back in the 90s. And I learned from my predecessor, Galen Hieronymus. So to be clear, I'm not the originator of this technology. So I'm standing upon the shoulders of Galen Hieronymus. But there's very few researchers because very few have ever been able to perfect scalar energy instruments. It's not electricity. And unless you want to study this new science, you're not going to make significant headway.
Okay, gotcha. All right, you're opening up our minds. You're opening up opportunity. You've brought us a real generous gift of a 15-day trial to connect with you. So we're going to make sure those links are accessible right after this conversation. Just click those links. It'll take you right to Tom's website where you can read more about your work, about Tom's work. You can also participate in this free gift, which I'm signing up. I'm there. I'm really intrigued and fascinated by this. And I have to say, because Grandma, the wisdom of time. Grandma said, when you don't feel well, sit in the sun. Why? When you start feeling, out of whack, my mom has always said, go sit in the sun. So, there's no accident in that, is there? That time, the wisdom of those that have gone before us have seen, maybe we all haven't understood, but we've seen the effect of this in a very practical way, haven't we?
Exactly. We're going back to nature. That's one of the things I like about my work. There's no pollution, there's no carbon footprint to this. It's non-physical, so there cannot be any chemical die-off or rash or an allergy. You're working with the stars. There's no untoward outcome behavior with star energy. It's perfect. It's harmless.
Okay. It's harmless, yet it's beneficial.
Yes. Right.
Yet it's beneficial. Tom, thank you for bringing your technology and your understanding to us today. Incredible. And I look forward to hearing more about this. I think we should do a take two with Tom because
Please.
there's more about this that's unfolding, is what it feels like to me. You're going to keep running with this. I think it's just an amazing what? It's not new, because I wanted to say new, but it's not new, but you're bringing it to light for us. So thank you for that. And I want to chat more about this with you again at another time and just touch base and go, okay, what's going on? Matter of fact, we should jump on a platform together and just do some other demonstrations, get a group together and just
please.
Let's just keep talking about this.
But after your audience signs up for the 15-day free session, let's get their feedback. We'll do a follow-up. Sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for joining us, everybody who sat down with us today at Table Talks. Thank you for being here. If you have questions for Tom, please reach out. I'm sure he's got the knowledge and understanding to answer those questions. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you again. So I bet your wheels are turning. I know mine are. I am fascinated by this. I'm going to try Tom's 15-day trial with him, and I'm providing these links, his website link, to you, so that if you choose to, you can also have a conversation with Tom and give this a try. Again, before you add anything to your daily routine, take away or add, make sure you're checking with your healthcare provider first to make sure that this is a fit for you. This is not advice, medical advice in any shape or form. This is information share with you. So take it at that. I'm personally going to give it a go, and I will share with you what I find and feel. As you know, I am an intuitive, and I walk with people and help them connect to their intuitive side. Our intuitive side is that real compass to who we are, what is our most authentic, and what authenticness and what aligns with that. It's also where our gifts are. We have our physical gifts. Some of you may be architects or musicians, or fill in the gap, athletic. Those are our physical gifts, but we also have intuitive gifts, and they go with our physical gifts. They're meant to package together, and that's what can make our life incredibly purposeful and full of meaning, and just incredible, accelerate us forward. So getting to know you, that's what I do. I introduce people to themselves. It also gives us clarity of the past, and it gives us understanding of the past, but clarity for where we're moving in the future. So if you're looking for that and that's resonating with you, that's what I do. I can't wait to connect with you, and let's work together. We'll talk to you soon. See you at the next Table Talk. Thank you for being here. And if you like this video and you got value from this video, hit the like, subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell so you get notified that the next one is live. See you at our next Table Talk.